Well, I'm out for a wee walk for trout again today, and I'm just sitting here resting my legs on the way up, and it's looking lovely. Winds in the east, terrible day for trout fishing, bright sun, but sure, it's lovely out here, so I just thought, I'll come up here, have a nice day out, you know. And I'm enjoying the wee walk, if nothing else. So I'm going to walk up to the loch. I suppose it's a bit of a walk from the road, you know, not dead easy to get to. Once I do that, I'll have a few casts. It might be a trial to decide which side of the loch to go on. I have a sort of feeling that I'm going to be like torn between the two, but I think the winds to come more northerly as the day goes on. So I think I'll favour the northern side if it's a kind of 50-50 call. That's my plan. But what a lovely day, eh? And you can see I've got the good view here. I might just set up camp here, make tea and sit here for the rest of the day, catch the rays, you know. Be great, wouldn't it? So yeah, so let's get moving on up and see what the loch looks like. I'm coming up here, it's a calm day, but obviously once I come up onto the hill I catch a wee bit of a wind. So I'm hoping I'll catch enough of a breeze, you know, to make it fishable. That's my hope. So we'll see how that goes. So I've arrived at the loch and I'm following the deer path here. The deer are all rutting in here at the minute. I was hearing them all roaring yesterday. I was well, not here, but I was down a bit yesterday, you know. So, but I've come up to take a look, and I think I'm going to head for that far bank, and that the wind's to come more northerly, which is over there. So I'll give that a go. This loch used to be devoid of trout. Back in the 80s, it had fish, but for some reason they went away. So I think someone has released fish back into it. I fished it for very many years without seeing a fish, but earlier this year I managed to get one, and I think I've talked to a few people and everybody's pretty certain that somebody brought a few fish up and released them into the loch to see if they could get a population going again. Now, there's not currently many fish, and in view of the cold easterly wind and the bright conditions, it's going to be tricky, but we'll give it a go, you know. And more about a picnic and a day out, I think, because it looks lovely, you know. I'll find a wee spot along that bank that offers comfort and picnic facilities, and we'll give that a go. So I arrived up here on the loch, and the first thing I thought I would do is get a cast going, and then I'll have a cup of tea. So I'm just going to have a quick cast. I at least have a bit of a wave, even if I do have bright sun, so I suppose there's a chance, you know. I have started with the loch shrimp on the top and the grass grabber on the point. I think the grass grabber is now an official name. It's just John tied the fly up for me, and I was saying to him, that'll do really well in grass, you know. And I haven't had much chance to fish grass this year, but I I was looking for a name for the fly, and I was just calling it the grass grabber, but I was in contact with John last night, and he says he thinks that's a reasonable name for it, so I'm going to keep calling it that. But it did really well for me at brown trout yesterday, you know. So I thought I'll start with it today. It's maybe a bit bright for what you normally imagine for trout, but then the loch shrimp's a very bright fly as well, you know. So I'm just going to give this wee bit of bank a quick belt before I make a cup of tea. So the wind is fairly cold, but I came up here in part because the forecast pretty much was for flat calm. So I thought, well, if I come up here, I'll maybe catch, you know, just a wee bit of a breeze, which I seem to be doing. I mean, you know, it's quite a pleasant breeze, really, in view of the loch and the wind or the wave it's put on, you know. It's just a bit unfortunate it's so cold. So we'll see how it pans out. I don't imagine this to be a super successful day in terms of fish caught, because it's likely there aren't many fish in this loch, because as far as we know, someone brought them up and released them here, and well, I'm sure they'll spawn a bit and whatnot. I don't know how long the release, or how long ago the release took place. I have to guess that it might have been 8 years ago or 5 years ago or something in that sort of order, not just this year, if you know what I mean. But again, it's kind of, no one really knows. I bet you somebody knows, but it's not me. Yep, got the banana and the cup of tea on the go now, and I'll give that a quick go, and then I'll go back to the fishing. It's a cold wind and bright sun. I'm not overly hopeful, you know, but it's just such a fantastic day, and we're awful late in the season. The season's basically over now, so. And normally I would fish for salmon at this time of year, just with a last day for trout, just for a day out, you know. So given if we had water, I would be away for salmon, but strangely, and I mean, there's been lots of water in other places in the UK through September, but the clouds have all orbited round us and we have had dry weather, basically. I had one day at salmon, and I had a wee fish, and as far as I'm aware, there were only 2 fish for the river for the whole of the month, you know, so because it was just so low. I mean, there's fish there, but it's just so low that that nobody was fishing, and it was very difficult going. happens like that sometimes. Um, Lewis has the huge advantage, really, that in almost any conditions you can get fishing, if you're willing to be a bit adaptable. And that's always my suggestion to anybody coming: just be adaptable, you know. So usually if there's not water for salmon, you can come to trout. But of course, we've had these northeasterly winds for the whole month as well, pretty much our flat calm. And that's certainly not ideal for trout. I mean, you know, caught a few trout, but it's not the sort of weather that inspires you to put in a lot of effort, I suppose, would be the best way of putting it. But, you can't beat it. Lovely day up here on the moor, you know. Maybe we'll catch a wee trout, maybe we won't. That's part of the sport. Cup of tea and a banana. What's not to like? I'm catching my lines, catching all these reeds and rushes and stuff. So I've had a wee cup of tea and footered about a bit, and I thought I'll have another cast along here, just working my way down towards this wee corner here. It's a wee bit like with rushes and reeds, and these are rushes. It's a wee bit badly infected with rushes, which makes the line tangles in them. I don't know. They seem to be designed for tangling, you know. So you're always knotted around them. And I appreciate a stripping basket might be the solution, but again, there's only so much stuff you want to carry, you know. So see how this goes. What a glorious day to be up here, like. I'm still on the loch shrimp and the grass grabber, but I will change in due course. I'll fish along this wee corner here, and then I'll do a fly change, I think, and just keep chopping and changing as the day goes on. See if I can find something that might work. Might get me a fish. I have no idea, really, what might be a good fly on here, just because nobody really has had a fish out of it since the early 90s, you know. And there'll be very few people who'll come up here for a few wee fish anyhow. So it's just it's really out of interest, I suppose. The fact that I fished it for 30 years and never had or saw a fish. And again, this was in part out of interest to see what was going on with it, you know. And again, I appreciate there'll be many anglers who'll be like, not understand this, but for me it's not just about the fishing or the catching of the fish, but I like to study what's going on and think about what might be happening and why there's no fish in it and where they went and these things, you know. And I haven't really reached any conclusions, to be honest, but nonetheless, I've been up here over New Year to see, you know, what the burns are like and stuff like that over the years. So there's a cleaner bit of bank there. It might be a bit more fun. Now that moved a fish. Don't know if you saw it. I felt the tiniest, slightest wee knock. And it moved the fish again, but didn't again touch the flies. So, quite remarkable. I'll put the line out here for a minute or two and then come back to it, you know, see, maybe, because fish rarely lie in the one place, you know, they move about a bit. So I'll work my way back in towards where it was and see if I might not move it again. So I had some lunch. I've come up into the far corner of the loch now, just to see how that goes. I changed the flies. I've got Digby's Demon and a Barvis Crippler on now. So we'll see how they go. Well, it's certainly not immediately productive up here, just up the far end, you know. And I thought I'll come right up into the corner basically and have a few wee casts here. I'm on the Barvis Crippler and the Digby's Demon. Yes, the leggy Digby's Demon. Very effective usually. Unlike my casting, which is very untidy. So I'm going to move along the bank, just not stay anywhere too long, and see if I can maybe move another fish and maybe succeed in hooking it this time. think that's my plan. So I think I'll get moving. I'll move along just a wee bit here, you know. So I've been moving along a wee bit here, doing a bit of fly changing, trying different things, and it's not going very well. I'm on now a clan chief and a teal and black. Not seeing any signs of any fish though. But I'm just going to keep bouncing along here. Maybe in these rushes again. So having fished down from the top corner there, off to my left, I'm starting to near the spot where I initially set up camp. And I think what I'm going to do is go back there, have a cup of tea and a wee biscuit, just to, you know, keep my strength up. And then I'll fish along the bank into the corner where I saw move the fish today. Seeing as it's the only fish I've seen, it's like, I mean, I'm not sure that it's going to be there now, but at least there were fish there, you know. So, whereas I've seen no evidence on the rest of the loch that there are fish at all. And as I've said, this loch till very recently didn't have any fish in it, so it's possible there's very few fish in the loch and that they're not very well spread out yet. I don't know, you know. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Back to my first campsite, get a wee cup of tea on, maybe a wee biscuit, and probably do a fly change as well, just to keep ringing the changes, as they say, and then we'll see what we can do after that. See if we can maybe move another fish, you know. It's looking pretty unlikely, but you never know. So a wee afternoon cup of tea. Just not been a very successful day in terms of catching fish. Lovely day out, can't beat it.
But in terms of getting fish, not been a success. Don't know why. But well, I don't think there's many fish in here because they're not here very long. So it'll be interesting to see if I can manage one. I'll give it maybe another half hour, and then it'll not be long before I'll be walking back down the hill, you know. Have the wee cup of tea and these things. But I hope you're enjoying the video, even though there's been no actual casting or no actual catching. Yeah, there's been a lot of casting. Yeah, arm waving, but very little to show for it. I did move one fish down there, which I suppose that's a success up here, you know. After 30 years coming up here looking for fish, even to see one's a success. So I'm going to have my tea, change the flies again and get stuck back in, and we'll see how that goes.
So I had a wee taste of afternoon tea, and I changed the flies, put the loch shrimp back on a Watson's Fancy on the point, and I'm gonna bounce along this bank just for a little while, and then that'll do me. So not a super productive day so far. I was kind of hopeful that I might have managed to fish, but it's not looking very likely. And again, not a huge surprise not to, in view of the nature and history of this loch, but nonetheless, it is a lovely walk up here, and a lovely place to come for a picnic, even in a cold wind, you know. What an amazing day for being right at the end of the season. It's not maybe ideal conditions for actually fishing, but what a day for a day out though, you know. Because it'll be a good while before we get another day just as nice as this one, you know. I'm hoping that I might get another cast before the season ends this year. Probably just the one. So there might be another video after this one, assuming I put them out in order. Maybe I won't. I don't know. Sometimes I just do completely random stuff, you know. But so we'll see. But although there were no fish today, I'll be kind of pushed to get as nice a day again, won't I?